Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to wait till some people join in before we get into the show tonight. Before I introduce my special guest. So come on in. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. I'm waiting on you. Now, I won't start talking until I see at least one, and I got one. Come on, y'all. Come on in the room. Yes, we got somebody watching from Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, come on in the room. Come on. Yes, I see you. I see the Lawrence. Oh, yes, Nairi, you're in the room, baby. If you're in the room, say that you're here. Say that you're here, okay? But I'm going to start speaking in about 10 seconds. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. We are, and we're going to have a nice little time tonight on here, okay? It's been a while since I did Coochie Chronicles. And for those that have never been on the show, hey, Shirley, baby. She's from Tampa, Florida. Tampa's in the house. Woo, 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 woo. Go get your drink, Nairi. Y'all go get your glass of wine. Y'all know the queen. I got my glass of wine. Come on, take a sip with me. All right, Lenice. Lenice is in the room. Come on, y'all. Come on. Yes. Come on in the room. Okay, I'm going to get started. I have a special guest here that's all the way from North Carolina. Is that Raleigh?
No, that's Winston-Salem area.
Winston-Salem area. We have been having a time with her. Dr. Faye Cobb. She's my sister-in-law, my husband's favorite sister that lives in North Carolina, as he would say. So I'm going to try to respond to you, but if I don't get to you, because we're going to be involved with conversation, I will hit you up later, okay? But let me introduce Dr. Faye Cobb. She's a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. What else do you do, Faye?
I play pickleball, and I do exercising, and I just started writing not too long ago.
Yes, and do you mind if I tell them about your birthday?
Go right ahead.
Well, she just celebrated her 80th birthday this past Sunday, September the 10th. Can you believe it? Let the people see you. Come on, let the people see you. Look at her. Look how beautiful she is. 80 years young. I want to be like her when I grow up. Oh, I'm on my way. Oh, I'm on my way. So anyway, let's get into a little bit about you. I would just like to know and let the people know a little bit about you before we get into the crust of the conversation.
And like, what is it that you want to know about me?
I'm
just a regular person.
She's a regular person.
Regular person. Mm-hmm. And I started writing during COVID, actually, because I just got tired of watching TV and, you know, hearing all the horrible stories. And so I had started writing like my autobiography, but it was boring. So I started writing short stories, but I will tell you that I was encouraged by two groups of people. One was my sister, Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
And she's on here. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Sharon.
And about another couple who live in California. But I think it was my sister that I started reading all my stories to. I mean, she loved all of them, so I don't know if she was a good critic or not because she's my sister. But that's really how it all started. I was just bored, I think. And I thought, there's something else I can do besides eat and dwell on the contagion of COVID-19.
Okay. Now, do you have the book that you wrote?
Yeah, this is the book that I started, and you can see I'm still editing the book because I keep shooting for perfection, and it's never going to be perfect. But I always like to have it very well done before I really get it out there. So.
Okay. Well, let's get started into what our discussion is going to be tonight.
And what is that going to be?
That's why you're here to tell us.
Well, again, it's all started because I started a few short stories, and I'll just give you an idea of maybe a page or two of a short story because it can just be a little bit too boring for me even. So just to keep you engaged, I'll start one and see if
and if you guys want to tag other people on here so they can watch and hear this, please feel free to. And please don't go anywhere because, like I said, this is the first time that I've done Coochie Chronicles. I don't think I've done one since the pandemic. And that's probably when I should have been doing them to keep myself active. So please stay on here and listen to what we're going to be discussing this evening.
Okay, so the first one is called Me and Maurice. It so happened that he worked for me. I can share what I knew about him from this perspective. Initially, I had no desire to be embedded in his politics or anything complex. I had no idea what country or island country he was from, or if he was documented or undocumented, nor did I care. Watching him work made me know that he was about honorable work, and this man was fine. Maurice came early once a week, but late enough so that neighbors didn't complain about any noise created by his shears snipping, weeds being whacked, or the gravelly hum of the mower. He was sensitive to that. My neighbors were even more sensitive to noise, and maybe even sensitive to immigrants, but I had no way of knowing his status. Nevertheless, I wouldn't call them xenophobic. Tilted atop his head was a black leather flat-top beret with aviator glasses adorning his face, and I mean adorned, although the chapeau with the wire-rimmed shade seemed like a visual mixed metaphor to me. His accent was detectable with romantic lyric. The accent went along with the beret despite the conspicuous lettering on the back. He seemed Frenchy. His English fluency, including comprehension, was flawless, though. Except for a few snippets of conversations, I knew only what I saw. On the hottest of days, he donned long-sleeve shirts, work boots, heavy boots, and that beret with the small English D on the back. His build was defined by the creases stuck to his shirt when sweating profusely, accenting his shoulders and biceps. He had a small waist for a man, which balanced out his wide shoulders and strong buttocks. So this is a story about a lady who gets kind of fascinated by the man who works for her in his garden.
Okay.
I like stories like that.
Yeah, keep on expounding on that. That sounds very fascinating, interesting, and
it is
sexy.
Oh well.
Is it more sexiness to that?
A little bit more, but I won't go into all of that right now.
Can you give us just a little tiny piece?
Well, let's see if I can find a section that might.
Because I like sexiness.
Oh my goodness. Oh my! Can you see I'm sweating? This is me the sweat.
She's a little nervous, you guys. So bear with her. Let me just wipe her brow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon. Sharon said that was very interesting. How do you tag someone? I believe down at the, well, I'm stumped now. On this live, I can see a little person that you can hit that button and it tags other people. So, but I don't know if you had that on your end, Tracy. Okay, what else you got for us?
Well,
y'all bear with us because y'all don't get this kind of stuff on Facebook. Y'all don't get this here. This is live, up close and personal from a author. Okay.
Beginning author.
She's professional.
Okay. Unlike Stella, I wasn't trying to get my groove back. Or at least I didn't think so. I was single, but not desperate. But the physical distance between us at its moments allowing me to dream, pretend. I could waltz around the room, keeping time with the music in my head. I even dipped myself with his mythical arms, holding me at my waist, gentle enough so that I did not fall backward on my behind. Sometimes I used my smart speaker to request music where I sang and moved my shoulders and hips as though I was boogieing with him. Speaking of derriere, no plumber's crack was exposed as he leaned over for another dig of something. His shirt stayed in his pants. His pants were seated around curved, firm buttocks. A pleasure to watch, stretching this pleasure to envisioning a sexual interlude. Dancing was one thing, but being in bed with him was ethereal. One Thursday morning about a year ago, Maurice said he wouldn't be at work. He said, "Madame," with a little melancholy, I thought, "not coming in today. A little touch of something. Should be better by next week." It was understandable. The man was feeling ill. He behaved professionally by letting me know about his absence. True to his own imagination, I wanted to believe he sounded disappointed. This last time, however, when he called to say, "Madame, I'll not be in for the next 2 weeks. Going home to see my mom, who isn't doing well. Hope to be back after I check things out at home." This caught me a bit off guard, and I managed to say, I understand. Just let me know when you get back. Hope your mother gets better." I didn't let my imagination drift off into the stratosphere. This time, I kept my senses intact.
Ooh, listen at, they want more of that. Y'all want more. Y'all getting heated like I am. This is a hot story here.
No.
Yes. That sounds very sexual to me.
Well, it's just sensual. Sensual. Yeah.
Sensual.
It's sensual.
Okay.
But,
y'all stay tuned now.
Oh, wow.
It's getting juicy.
So I'll just read another excerpt, maybe. One Sunday several weeks after his return, Maurice called to ask if he could stop by for a minute and then had something to show me, I heard the truck tires chew up the gravel and opened the front door, peering through the screen. After the stone dust settled, he stopped and could view me through the screen door. I couldn't imagine what he had for me to see. Yet I wondered if rushing down the drive would appear too eager, so I slowed my gait with a slight sway to my hips. Instead of him getting out the truck, he tilted his head with his eyes beckoning me to get in, while at the same time he said, "Climb in." I liked that he was taking charge without pretentious chivalry, like, "Climb in if you want to." It was rather like that, persuasive enough not to be alarming. I hesitated. He was not a stranger, but it felt tingly. Not the stranger danger kind of tingly, but the excited kind. "What?" A genuine response, since he never asked me to go with him anyplace except to walk through the property to examine plantings. And he said that he had something to show me, not take a ride with him. Maurice smoothly tilted his head left, emphasizing again for me to get in, and said, "Come on, get in. Life's free." Spontaneity was always a turn-on for my romantic heart, and before I knew it, I said, "What the hell?" Then I thought about Stella was getting her groove back. I scooted into the truck, clicked on my seatbelt, his bronzed fingers folded over the padded steering wheel, while the right hand held the knob of the stick shift. Looking at the knob, I couldn't help but notice the front of his fly held anatomical correctness. His eyes were on the roads and not on mine. Otherwise, I would have been a little embarrassed. I was happy that I wore my quote-unquote good bra, waiting for the girls to be perky, even though he never looked my way. Gain a grip, I kept telling myself, and stop acting so desperate. The man was going to be driving on familiar streets, probably near the house. I needed to control my lusty appetite and stop looking at the man's past. This wasn't that type of guy, and I'm not an nympho either. I merely dream a lot.
Oh, my goodness. Did y'all get heated? I'm sitting up here tingly and moist in my doggone self. You know what amazes me about my sister-in-law here? She's so professional, and I love it. And to write a story like this, it's sort of like, it's something different as far as I'm concerned. Because she know I've always, not always, because I don't always do nothing. But I've said to her, you know, she just seems so conservative. But to write something like this, well, I'm seeing another part of you.
What do you hear the other one? You don't know it's me.
I'm loving it. Are you guys loving this? Chime in and let me know if you're loving it. Yes, Tracy, your sister is an author. Oh, yes, Nari is loving it. Ladies are loving it. I just like how she pronounces it and how she brings feeling to her reading. I just love that. I just love it. So anyway, is there any questions that you guys have for Dr. Faye Cobb? Give me your questions because I want to, keep this going for at least about 10 more minutes and then we're going to shut it down. Sharon Waters is chiming in from Arizona.
Yes.
And she's loving it. She's giving you hearts.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharon.
That's one thing I like about live Facebook. It goes all over the world. People can watch this.
Oh, yikes.
I mean, if they're on my Facebook page, but I'm public, so...
Okay.
So, see how she gets nervous?
I do.
I told her to settle down. This is not that big of a deal. Is there something else that you want to...
Yeah, I think, actually, I don't know if I would have read that really, but this one's short, so.
Come on, y'all hang in there with us.
Maddie had a cat that she loved and talked to him often, especially after her husband died 5 years ago. Dinner again, buddy. You know the drill. Buddy meowed as though he knew what was coming next. He wandered into the kitchen and perched on the bar stool as though to oversee Maddie's magic once again. But Maddie knew when Buddy stretched out his front limbs, it was a sign that he understood, although he seemed a little bored. Her children knew that Maddie had cataracts, but glaucoma was stabilized in both eyes. She was known to bake one of the best lemon pound cakes in the county. Can I help, Mama? Her daughter Ellie asked on a Sunday visit, knowing her mother was losing some visual acuity. Maddie knew the question was about her sight and replied, "See just fine, Ellie," as she wiped her flour-dusted hands on the lower half of her bib apron. Her daughter left the kitchen, thinking her mother had been baking the cake for years, and the aroma from her cake made everyone salivate before they came close to eating it. This time was no different. The whole house smelled of something warm, causing all to drool. No one liked liver or any of her last 4 Sunday dinners, but they suffered through the Oregon meat, covered with onion gravy and served with rice and canned green peas. The suffering was to get to that dense, buttery cake and visit with their mother weekly. This way they could keep an eye, pun intended, on their mother. Maddie's take on all of this was that the children were treating her like a child, coming on Sunday for a free dinner. She liked weekday visits. She goes to church on Sunday and likes to meet with her friends afterward, but instead she rushes home to greet the children with no one really checking to see if she even wanted visitors. The children just showed up. "Ice cream with that cake?" Maddie asked. The lemony aroma was sliceable and so welcome. "No, ma'am," said Jamal, Maddie's older son. "Just ready for the cake, Mom. Let's get on with it. Water, anyone?" "Stop teasing us, Mom. Let us dig in." Okay, said Maddie. It was tradition to wait until everyone received their slices on the dessert plates before eating. Each child forked a piece of the cake. Ellie grinned through gritted teeth, trying to hide the horrible taste that just insulted her tongue. Jamal smiled and with puffed cheeks and then gulped down a chunk of the cake, then coughed. "Sure no water, Jamal?" "Don't mind if I do," Jamal said as his mother got up to retrieve him a glass. Martin, 32, born between Ellie and Jamal, watched the others and wondered what was their problem. Then he tasted the cake and placed his napkin to his lips to spit it out. Maddie returned with the water and never looked up. Instead, she kept her head buried until she said, "Haven't lost my touch." The children were aghast and thought perhaps they needed to try it again. Similar results with Jamal running into the nearby bathroom and could be heard flushing the toilet several times with guttural choking. Ellie had a dry gag, but swallowed the bolus of dough anyway. Spewed cake catapulted across the room with crumbs landing in her mother's face, with Martin saying, "So sorry, Mom." But this almost made Maddie gag. "Must be my stomach is upset," he said. When all the children sheepishly sat at the table, they began to laugh. Their mother was speckled with yellow cake crumbs across her deep brown face. "It's okay, son," as Maddie swiped her napkin across her face and chuckled a bit herself. She could tell what the children were thinking. Their mother had unknowingly lost the touch. They thought it was hard enough to endure the liver and onions and whatever she had been preparing over the last few weeks, but the cake was another story. It must be the deteriorating eyesight that she made this mistake with the ingredients. Mom, Ellie began, we think you got the sugar and the salt mixed up. Really? Maybe you're right, but mine was fine. Maybe you're just getting used to your mishaps, and as one gets older, I read the taste buds change. That's it, said Martin. Your taste buds are more accepting of distasteful seasonings. The children all looked at each other and nodded their heads in agreement. Maybe you're right about the mix-up, but my taste buds being altered, you might be right about that. So sorry, kids. Maddie could see quite clearly that her children got up ghost-like from the table to huddle in the kitchen. Then they think that did they think that she was invisible or that they were? Hands were flying in the air and voices raised and lowered as Ellie spoke when they returned to the table. Mother, Ellie said, in that proper tone that parents hate from their adult children, we think from now on we'll rotate dinners among us. We'll leave plenty of leftovers so that you have enough for the week and I can come over from time to time to help you with a delicious pound cake. Jamal and Martin will even take turns picking you up and returning you home. How does that sound? Maddie began to cry, managing tears and a little snot trickle from a nostril. She reached for her cloth napkin and dabbed at the salty foods with a few cake crumbs still mixed in. Through a halting voice, she said, oh dear, I couldn't impose on you all like that. But we insist, Mom, with the children saying this in unison, and nearly in unison, they got up and started to leave. Again, more like apparitions than humans. They kissed Maddie goodbye and waved as they exited the house and walked to their cars like everything was all settled, hardly giving Maddie a chance to reply. Maddie smiled and went back into the house, placed her prescribed eye drops into both eyes. There, Dr. Carson said my eye pressure was stable now with this new medication. Buddy, that reminds me, I need to call her for my 6-month checkup. And Buddy, it finally worked. I was so tired of cooking every week as they devoured my cake, leaving so little for me. And when the horrible meals didn't work, but that lemon cake was a sure winner. How was I able to eat it, you ask? I made 2 cakes and inserted my piece on that high side. Then I glazed the whole thing. I sliced theirs on the slightly leaning side. I'm sure the lean was caused by the heaviness of the salt. They were so eager that they didn't even notice the height difference. Maddie went into the living room, sat in her cushy recliner, and turned on the television with the one correct remote of the 3. Buddy's gait sped up. He became like a cat on the hot coals and sprang into her lap.
Ah, how did y'all like that? You read so well, and I like your emphasis on your words.
Thank you.
How did y'all like that? Give her an applause. Come on, give her an applause. That was great. That was absolutely great. Now, I don't really see this type of stuff on Facebook. This is positivity here. And there are questions that are being asked of you, Faye. Someone wanted to know, where did you get your inspiration from?
First when you start writing, it starts to be almost like autobiographical. And like I said, my autobiography would be boring. So I quickly changed the fiction. But again, I like to say that my sister did inspire me, and so did this couple that I know on the West Coast. He does some artistic stuff. And he's a little about my age, I guess. And I figured if he could do it, I probably could do it. But I also attend writing classes, and they have some classes that you develop a story from a prompt, and some thoughts come to your mind from watching television, reading the newspaper, whether it's online or hard copy. I mean, actually, everybody can write. If you write in a journal, that's also writing. If you write notes to go to the grocery store, that's also writing. If you write notes. So inspiration comes from anything. That light that's going around in your living room, you can probably think of a lot of things you could probably come up with by just looking at that light.
Mm-hmm. Someone also asks, where can your works be purchased?
They cannot be purchased. Right now, I'm just doing it to revise it because I'll make it for Christmas gifts for my immediate family.
All right. Is there any other questions that you guys have out there? Because we're not going to hold you. We know people are busy and have other things to do. But I just wanted to introduce my sister-in-law, who is an author. And what was your profession, Faye? Before you got into this writing, what did you do?
Yeah, I was a professor. I taught in physical therapy and in healthcare management. Chair of a department. And
she's also a great pickleball player. I've been taking her down to our courts here in my community so she can show me off. Because I just started. And this woman here, to be 80 years old, I shouldn't say old, to be 80 years young and still move the way she moves, she inspires me. What 80 will look like for me. I try to inspire those 74 and below, but she's inspiring me. And I have loved this evening with Faye. Sonia says you are awesome.
Hi, Sonia. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've ever heard my story, Sonia. So
and
nice.
Sharon says thanks for sharing. She loved it. And
Thanks,
thank you guys so much for joining in. Like I said, we're not going to hold you. Yeah, somebody said, what? 80? She looks great.
Oh, thank you. Whoever that is, thank you.
Yeah, her name is Vic Will Tyson.
Oh. Thank you.
So, Tracy said thanks. Sonia Barbara said it was great. So right now, we're going to close out this chapter, and we might come back one day for a part 2. Because I do believe, I like to see things like this, but I don't know if you can turn short stories into film, can you?
Well, one of my short stories actually became a play.
Oh, y'all hear this. Hear this. Come on, tell them about that.
It was a monologue. It was a monologue, started as a monologue, and someone suggested that I turn it into a play, and I actually won a contest for a 10-minute play in Winston-Salem.
Wow, y'all give her a
Hey, just thank you all for participating. I really do appreciate that. Thanks, Rolene, for joining me.
Yes, so you're more than welcome. So we're going to let you guys go and finish your evening because I really didn't want to go over 30 minutes, and I think I'm right there coming up on that. So always remember Dr. Faye Cobb and her short stories. How do you pronounce that? Is that MCorn? McCorn short stories, okay? And you will see her in the future because she's going to come back with something bigger and better than this. Always know that I love myself. I love my sister-in-law, Faye Cobb. And we love y'all to life.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.